So let's look at something that I call the bracket method. And this is all about a process of how to go from overwhelm to winning. And to begin, we need to consider what causes overwhelm in context of this idea. And it really comes down to starting something big, something significant. Whenever you do that, what do you usually face? You face a lot of choices, a lot of options. What do I do? How do I approach this? What outcomes am I trying to achieve? What's the path for getting there? And there are just so many things to consider when you're first starting out a big project. And that makes you look like this guy here. Too overwhelming. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you want to start a YouTube channel, or you're trying to reignite it like I am. There are just so many choices and ways to approach this in order to win at YouTube. For example, you have thumbnails, the things that you click on. Do you want those to be realistic? Do you want them to be photographs? Do you want them to be illustrated? Do you want them to have text, no text? What's your approach to teaching? Do you want it to be something fun, something lively, something a little bit more relaxed? And do you want to be on camera, have your face shown? Do you want to be faceless? Do you want to do podcasts where you're interviewing people? How do you want to do that? How often do you post? Do you post once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 7 days a week? Again, this is just a small portion of just ideas and things you have to consider with a YouTube channel. But maybe you wanted to start a business. How do you approach that? What are some of the things you need to think about? There are endless choices when it comes to that. Maybe you have a project, a huge project at home that involves making choices with colors and shapes and sizes and fabrics. And again, it's just so much going on and it can feel overwhelming. So what do you do? Well, what ends up happening oftentimes when you're feeling this overwhelm is that it creates resistance. Your brain kind of shuts down and you're thinking, you know what, this is too many things that I can't really think about right now. And it doesn't even start because of the overwhelm. As a result, you just stay stuck. You don't start the YouTube channel. You don't start the business. You don't start the project. Well, you don't want that. That's where you can use this process, the bracket method, to go from this sense of overwhelm to winning. So let's look at the basic premise of what this is. And we're going to use the reason why this is called the bracket method because it uses the basis of the NCAA bracket, or there are brackets in a lot of different sports tournaments. But the idea is you have this bracket, and if you're not a basketball fan, I'm sure you've probably seen this before. And this is the basis for this idea. So if you look at the NCAA men's basketball tournament or women's basketball tournament, it has this bracket, and you can see it illustrated right here. Now, at the very beginning of the bracket on the left-hand side, that's where you're going to have most of the teams that are starting. And I think generally speaking, for the NCAA tournament, there are 68 teams that start. And all of those are potential champions. You have 68 potential champions. But how do you know which one is really supposed to be the champion? You don't at the beginning, do you? So each round of the tournament, these teams play each other, don't they? So what's the process for finding a winner? Well, again, things are put in motion. Teams play each other. They're trying out each other. They're testing each other, essentially. There's winning, there's losing. And as a result of this process, winners move on in the tournament and losers drop out. And the important point of that is that when losers drop out, you're losing potential champions. So the choices of champions is getting smaller and smaller with each round of the tournament until you have 68 teams and they play, and eventually you get down to 32 teams. Those play, eventually get down to 16, then 8, then 4, and you're eliminating the losers. Eventually you're going to get to a winner. You're going to get this person or this team right here. So you've whittled down the potentials and got rid of them. Now, when you think about it, success can be the same way. It can function the same way. To begin with, there are so many possibilities, as we already talked about, to start with. And the best approach to take it when starting that business, when starting that YouTube channel, when starting that home project, can just be unclear. And that's where the bracket method can help. Start a bracket. Like that tournament, you're never going to find the champion until you start playing the game. And the same thing with finding the champion for what you're trying to do. You have to take action. You just need to get moving. You need to try things, experiment, make mistakes, fail, do crazy things, do them different than you are used to doing them, or that you would have never thought about doing them. That's what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel in different ways. And this video is an example of doing that because I haven't done a video like this. So I'm trying it out. Find out what works and what doesn't. Pay attention to what people like, what you like, what they don't like, what you don't like. Eliminate the losers along the way and test winners against each other. That's what the bracket is. You're just trying anything at the very beginning. And as you're doing that, you're learning all kinds of stuff. And you're eliminating the stuff that doesn't work, that you don't like. But you'll never know until you start moving, until you start taking action. And then once you have a set of things that are working, then test those against each other so that you can eliminate the losers there and refine the process. Go from a rough to refinement process. And that's what this 9th point is all about. Move to the next bracket. Repeat it, the process over and over again. You've got winners. You found out what doesn't work. Eliminate the losers. Figure out what works. Try those things against each other. Figure out what works better there. Eliminate the losers and just keep going. And then eventually the champion will become obvious. The path, the direction that you need to take in order to win is going to become obvious just by the very nature of doing this process. So the lesson here is take action to discover the winner for whatever you're trying to do. Try a variety of things, fail, look foolish from time to time, make mistakes, do all kinds of things, experiment, try things that you would have never tried before, look for the winners, eliminate the losers, and then you will eventually discover your winner through the process of elimination. So that's what this idea, the bracket method, is all about. So I hope you found this test in and of itself helpful and useful. If you did, I'd love to hear your comments down below, what you think about this. I can create videos, more videos like this, and I'd be happy to, but I need your feedback. So, and if you like it, please like and share it. I'd appreciate that as well. And I hope that you have an amazing day.